Good evening, friends. Welcome to India Power Talk. We just completed 1 year of India Power Talk, and I'm glad to commence the second season. A warm welcome to all my dear audience. India Power Talk, as you know, is a knowledge sharing initiative, and we invite international thought leaders and domain experts to share their insights, experiences, and strategies related to business and economy. And this year, our special emphasis would be on future technologies and social entrepreneurs. The result is an easily accessible digital source of knowledge that benefits not only Indian entrepreneurs and policymakers, but also international businesses, investors, and strategic partners who have invested or intend to invest in India. Our speakers include entrepreneurs, economists, professors, investment bankers, inventors, scientists, lawyers, chartered accountants, and other senior professionals with diverse experience. Today, we will be discussing high-tech landscape changes and impact on talent gap. High-tech technology landscape like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and high-quality cybersecurity are becoming necessities. That goes for businesses of different sizes and for professionals. The biggest challenge is to keep up with the fast pace of change. Today's future visions are tomorrow's reality. And we all know that employers and educators around the world are struggling to keep pace. As a result, lifelong learning has become a must. But how can professionals and employers realize ongoing training and education efficiently and cost effectively? The current pressure is leading to a rethinking of education on many fronts. The market demands employees and extremely high skill levels, yet the cycle of change hardly allows time for traditional universities education. It is singular honor and a pleasure to welcome a guest who has accomplished truly remarkable results in this challenging field, Neelima Parasker, who is the founder, president, and CEO of SnapIT Solutions, a company that provides top quality IT and software development services to companies on one hand and fast track on the job training to professionals on the other. SnapIT Solutions is based on the concept of regenerative learning, a term borrowed from thermophysics to indicate a continuous feedback loop. In essence, it means people working in tech need opportunities to grow with easy new tasks, learning from senior colleagues, and pushing the needle ahead. It's also interesting to note that the regenerative learning approach incorporates the time-honored principles of apprenticeship. SnapIT capabilities in IT managed services, data analytics, IT security, cloud, and development ops. It also equipped that with technical expertise in disruptive technologies. Neelima founded SnapIT Solutions in 2015 in Kansas City, US. She is a board member of KansasWorks State Workforce Board, a review board, and a change agent empowered with the responsibility of making recommendations to the governor and to the state agencies to align workforce development with the state's economic development needs. Neelima is the recipient of numerous awards, including the prestigious National Award as an Enterprising Woman of the Year in 2020. Welcome, Neelima. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Nitin. Great pleasure to be here.
Neelima, it's a pleasure to have you on India Power Talk at the beginning of our second year. And thank you so much for taking time to join me. Could you please begin by telling us how you got the idea of SnapIT Solutions in the first place? And what's the core of SnapIT?
So, I started my technology IT career back in 2000. And I've been in major corporations, bigger companies, Fortune 500 companies like IBM, and enjoyed quite a bit of what work I've done. But over the past almost 2 decades that I've observed the technology industry, there have been many waves back and forth in especially the talent that we have received. And at the point of leaving IBM, I had about 200 and or maybe 225 resources. IBM was reporting to me globally and also in United States. The biggest issue we faced always was talent. There was a lot of money left on the table because resources were not able to get, projects were not getting on time. And if we do find resources, there's always, risk of losing them to another competitor. So that's always on, have been on my mind. About to early around to 2014 or so, I started this aspect of STEM education started. And I was approached by local community members and fellow engineers to mentor other women and younger girls into technology and engineering. So I started volunteering my time across in Kansas City and local area. When I was working, even though I was living here, I was very globally connected, but not as much locally connected as I would, I realized it later, almost like a bubble. And then during these mentoring sessions, I realized there are women and their younger children, mostly minority. And again, it's not minority by only color, by financial background as well. I realized that these students are not getting enough education to even enter into the high tech industry, leave alone understand and master in it. So when I saw that, I thought I can make a difference. That's when SnapIT was born. To overlay this in a high 50,000 square foot kind of look, SnapIT is broadly divided into three main divisions. The first division of the company is we have developed our own custom trainings
Mhm.
for young adults and adults who are getting into who are wanting to get into high tech industry. And these courses are in demand, in demand and high paying jobs skills. Once the students go through the training, it's short period of time, about 3, maybe 5 months, not more than that, not less than that. After the students go through these training programs, they get receive training certificate from SnapIT. We
Mhm.
are, by the way, certified by state of Kansas,
Mhm.
state of Missouri, and 5 other states in the United States. And we are expanding our state level certifications. What that means is workforce agencies can support and partner with us. So after the training is done, we are actually watching on the other side of the company, there's tech work, products and solutions and services. This segment of the company is watching for students coming through the training program. And
Mhm.
we are, when we see a student who is ripe for us to build more, we offer a job to the students. And then they become our employees and so on.
And you cover almost all the technologies.
We want to be on proven high tech technologies. We don't want to get into too much of bleeding tech. Of
Mhm.
course, I get into a landscape of many things. We do some POCs for blockchain kind of technology. AI is not any more bleeding. It's been there, done that kind of approach. So we would like to work on technologies, definitely web-based, mobile-based, AI, data related, any kind of. So those are technologies that have been proven and have been in demand and extremely hard to find resources, good talented resources. Even with offshoring, even with colleges in full swing, currently, only in the United States, there are 500,000 jobs open that are not being filled pre-COVID. And
Oh,
post-COVID, with all these changes and depending on dependability on technology,
has
not
increased.
just for exactly, it's going to be a nightmare for all of us to visualize. So this model has become, I know we are still a smaller company compared to many, but we are already providing talent pipeline or help on their services for big corporations. So that's taking us to the next level of growth and scaling.
Great. But forgive me for saying this or playing a devil's advocate. I'm a lawyer, as you know. for a moment. So does it really mean that the traditional universities are now obsolete?
Like I said, even with universities going full swing, they're only able to satisfy 25% of the demand. Another point, I'm not sure if you are aware in India, but Kaufman Foundation is one of the bigger foundations here, actually not only in United States, but in the world. According to their research, 7 out of 10 kids here in the United States are not going to university. And
Oh,
I know that a lot more, students are not having access to education, like countries like India, Africa. There are students who are not able to go to universities. But I refuse to believe that these students are not smart enough. And my approach is, this is not to replace a university education. This is either to augment it, because
yes.
universities have been a little bit older structure, and it's hard for them to for run as fast as a smaller business or industry, private industry kind of a. But truly speaking, it's either augmenting university education or almost replacing in certain way
Sure.
for students who are not able to go. So I don't know if you are aware of this, but Stanford and SnapIT has a white paper published
Mhm.
last year in actually 2019. Stanford had shown SnapIT's business model as a use case model. They see this as exponentially, the ability to grow this model was exponential according to them. And again, this is not to replace as such universities. I would prefer kids to have their childhood and enjoy that time and learn not just about education or a particular skill, but have an overall holistic approach. I've done bachelor's, I've done master's. I don't want to say no to that if you can afford it and if you want to give yourself that time. But there are many, many people out there who are not able to get to that. And this removes that block and level sets the platform.
Just to still, put it simply, does it really mean that, or are you suggesting that the graduation is not the engineering graduation is not required, but surely there is some basic education required, but to get the understanding or hands-on experience
Yeah,
on these technologies?
sure, absolutely. We don't train any student who doesn't have at least, in India, I believe it's intermediate. That's
Okay.
what they say. Here it is high school, but it's, 11th and 12th as well. But they have to be GED,
Okay.
graduated. Without that, we can't. At least our trainings, we are not able to give because workforce agencies don't provide the fees. So 100% of our students did not pay even $1 to us to train.
But
That's
like,
how we've been training.
is this the right way of connecting the industry and academia?
I don't know whether it is the right way or not, but I have to tell you the biggest drawback in my model is a lot of investment going into the student once we hire them,
I
right?
see.
About more 6 to 9 months, I am investing out of my profits from the company into the students. At one point, it was my personal money, my savings going in. So there is no obligation for them to stay. And there is no guarantee that they would, get through and get to that level of a 4-year bachelor's degree kind of a student. But the ratio has proved that close to 90% of the people that I have invested in have come through. So my investments have been fine so far. This is human capital investment, or I would rather want myself to be called as an angel investor than an investor, because angel investors put money in your bank and then hope and pray that we'll do good, and when things come back they get the returns. They have nothing to tied up to the student saying, you have to give me this, if not, kind of thing. So
Great.
that's how I see it.
Okay. No, just still one additional question I would like to ask you. On one hand, you have universities. On other hand, we have companies like SnapIT Solutions who are upgrading and training the students on our technologies. And the third side, there is industry. Now, how do you see the connect happening between in other words, is it necessary that between the university and the industry, we need to have companies like Snap IT Solutions? Is it really required?
So coming through, remember one thing, the training segment of the entire, I'll call it as an apprenticeship, right? This is training is almost a phase that is needed to start the apprenticeship, right?
Okay,
So the entire process together on an average takes about a year for
right.
somebody to come up to speed. And if somebody's already spending 4 years of bachelor's and 2 years of master's, they probably do not, their curve to get to industry is probably around 3 to 6 months based on how quickly they catch up with the industry. But somebody who's not gone through the 6 years, we are trying to push them into one segment, right? Bachelor's and master's as a very broad education. They learn everything about something about everything,
Okay.
obviously, because of what classes they're taking. But then the work demand starts with a one, two, or couple different skill sets. So again, only because education is done, I can challenge anybody in the technology field that says that I'm done with training, I'm done with educating myself. That's not going to happen. This is an endless bottom. Technology is, right? There is no period at which you are done with your education. You're constantly learning. You're constantly getting micro credentials, certifications, right? That's what you need to do to keep up in this industry. So anything and everything the universities or apprenticeship programs and training programs like SnapIT, all they're doing is cranking up that heat and starting the fire, right? After that, it depends on the student to take it and keep growing. And that's why we have created that new model, new logo for SnapIT. It has 3 spokes with a green center. The logo is human centric. The green is human or earth and planet. And then the 3 spokes are the 3 main divisions of our company that keep changing, right? You're constantly learning, you're constantly implementing, and you're constantly taking advantage of
Great.
your hard work.
Got it. So no, this what you are doing is really inspiring and really a great, I would say, great support to the universities. I would think. Neelima, these are really very challenging times for workers all over the world, including the US, I guess,
And employers.
and employers. So could you please talk about Snap IT Solutions? How have you responded to the pandemic, and how your organization is benefiting local communities, particularly?
Okay. Well, do you mind if I move the camera?
Yes, please.
Okay. So l- I started Snap IT in 2016.
Mhm.
I joined Snap IT full time in 2016. For about 3, 4 years, we've had at least 100% growth.
Mhm.
And as of last March 2020, we moved into a Snap IT's 10,000 square foot, actually 20,000 square foot
Wow,
office building.
I can see that office.
It was totally a huge pride for us to get into the space, really develop who we are as a people. And you can probably see the workspaces and all that there.
Yes,
You can also see that it's pretty much empty.
yes.
So these are the work cubes and so on. So if you ask me how I reacted, I wanted to make sure employees are safe. this is obviously a huge investment on our side to bring everybody together. You really, established company and all that stuff. But it didn't matter if employees are not safe. With that in mind, we have been 100% work from home ever since COVID hit. And definitely, even people like, I did not come to office during lockdown, obviously, for 3 to 4 months. And it was tough. It was tough as a business owner to invest so much and, really, and we are a small business. We are not big corporations to start with. Again, employees' health was highest priority, right? The second priority was clients, making sure clients work. Actually, it is about the same, obviously. Clients can never be ignored. There's always, the relevance of clients. And here's the thing, Nitin, the way I think as a business owner for SnapIT, if I take care of my employees, each and every employee of SnapIT will take care of the client.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how I would like to operate. And that's how it happened, right? We had amazing support from our clients. Each and every major client of mine contacted me immediately after pandemic and said, Neelima, we got you. We won't drop your services. We'll do our best to support through, this. So we've worked from home. We had definitely a lot of turbulence last year for about 3 months. And then we started kicking back again, kicking out of that situation. Quarter 4 of 2020, we
Yes.
made as much of almost all of 2019.
Wow. Wow. That's great.
Yeah,
So,
it's been
thank you,
good.
really, really thank you
Yeah,
for giving us the tour of your office. It was really great. Uh,
thank you.
so Neelima, there is a much talk about new normal. You said everyone is working from home. Even my office, entire JSC office is working from home. Right now I'm working from home. There has been a much talk, as I said, about the new normal and how the pandemic will permanently change the way we live and work. I have my doubts. I don't believe that we will be permanent. There will be a permanent change. It's a temporary phase, but what's lasting effect do you anticipate? How much will this really change?
So here's the things that I've been observing, reading. It's my, obviously, these are just my thoughts, nobody else's. But on the environment front, we've seen a lot of reduction in pollution, right? We've seen that we don't need to be traveling to be
Yes,
effective, right? All the time. So that's the carbon footprint has gone down tremendously. So, and we've been talking about save our planet, you
yes.
know, looks like the planet saved itself, in a weird way. And then I'm just looking at the silver lining, right? We all know what's bad about it. Of course, we can talk days together, but let's look at the silver lining. We've also realized that there has been a lot of almost like a hamster that runs in the cage and goes nowhere, right? We've had lives that are so busy that sometimes we don't know why we are so busy anymore, right? So it's been a good stop and reflect moment for people who want to reflect on certain things. And of course, I cannot tell you the emphasis on younger adults, people in their 20s who are used to going out, meeting people. It's hard on them. It's
It's hard on
difficult.
them. Yes.
It's not an easy phase. So what I want, I think the new norm could be is where we are reevaluating what is absolute necessary things
Okay.
to work with, right? If we can do what we did last year, why do we go back to the same old behavior if
Yes.
it can be better, right? That's what I think the new norm would be. What exactly? I don't know. I mean, my new norm is different than your new norm.
Absolutely correct.
Probably my brother and younger people, it's different. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Great. there are, of course, many Indian business people offering IT outsourcing to US companies. But as a pillar of your local community, contributing to the homegrown technological capabilities of American firms and successful careers of tech professionals, you have chosen quite a different path.
Yes.
So what motivated you? I'm sorry to come back again to this question, but what, Nilima, really motivated you to take this bold approach?
So, like I said, I've looked at work offshore model through bigger corporations. There is good and bad and ugly in that, right? What I also saw is, or I'm also aware is, um, not every time a resource, like there is so much of wrongdoing in interviews for technology here in United States.
Okay.
People are using augmented reality to do interviews.
Oh,
There is,
oh,
yeah, so there is bad ways. We don't know who is real candidate and who is not.
oh,
Only till you hire them for 3 to 4 months, then you know, okay, this
mhm.
person doesn't know anything. They're showing fake resumes, they're producing, so going off and starting my company, I said, you know what? I would rather know the people who have no knowledge and grow them,
Hmm.
and have an idea as to what talent they have, then go after the same pool of good resources that everybody wants to fight. Think about this. There is a pond that all animals are coming and drinking, or there is a total barren land. There is a possibility of a spring there, and I took the barrel land route, and I said, I'll clean it up, it'll be probably cheap.
Correct.
You're right, and I'll take my chances, maybe I'll hit a spring. And I did hit the spring. So but it's a long process in that sense, right? It's a choice. The only thing I knew is I'm not going to fight for the same water that's going to be exhausted in a couple years. I'm going to take my long route and go after something that I can actually have a good idea to produce more of, and maybe even own that kind of a process.
No, but I'll tell you what I really liked about your approach and and the whole business model of SnapIT is that there are multiple and many firms who are doing training programs, but the kind of program that you have chosen, the high tech technologies to the professionals, and whether they are really graduates or not non-graduates.
Doesn't
Now,
matter.
doesn't matter. Now, the advantage of this really is that, and I can imagine that, I see there's a huge gap between the technologies, the advancement of technologies, and the companies who are wanting to have those technologies. But at the same time, there are just no people available to work on those technologies. So I think, and the universities on the other hand, are going to take their own time to evolve, design the courses, and then implement it. So there's always going to be a complete gap between the education, between companies' demands, between advancement of technologies. So companies like you really fit in perfectly, to my mind, into building the ecosystem. And I guess you are really doing a greater service to the HR function. I would think, across the board, if I may, if I have summed up your services correctly. Uh, Now my question to you is, how can a business model like yours be replicated in India? And what advice could you offer, really? Because in India we have a lot of companies wanting advanced technologies. We have universities wanting to develop courses, but the gap is just not getting filled.
Right. I mean, countries like India produces a lot more engineers, that not only gives engineers to India but also to the world.
Yes.
So that's I think universities are overworking at this point in India. But here's what I would like you to reflect on. Right, the industry level knowledge is difficult to achieve if you're stuck with I think for countries like India, they need to develop more professional approaches, right?
I see.
Not just how to code a line of code, but really stop, think, reflect, why am I doing this?
Hmm.
What's the logic behind it? What is the customer wanting from this? Who is my customer, right? Most of the developers or engineers are only thinking, how do I code for the design that I've been given?
Given.
That is going to create a product that's extremely expensive, extremely non-user friendly, because you don't know the user. And we are
Correct.
spending so much of money on bug fixing and releasing again and again and again. And it's become a norm right now. And another aspect is we are only producing a certain variety of engineers. Women are not entering as much. Even if they enter, they fall out. The diversity of thought is not entering, especially even in United States. It's very certain segments of type of people. I don't want to mention, but everybody knows. So once we only stick with one segment of people, but they are producing products for the entire world to use,
Yes.
imagine what we are trying to do, right? We are
Yes.
not capturing the actual essence of the user. The products are not created by the segments of users. So those are the things. So I think our the SnapIT model also attacks that aspect.
Yes.
Not only are we doing economic equality and development, but also giving back the the most important resource for the resource for the people, for the communities, for the demographics that they are not even entering into the workforce in this industry, right? Women have a lot more flexibility if they're working in IT. I have two kids. I've gone through two pregnancies and still, went through this industry fine. So those are the aspects that if I want to say, give a message to anybody in India, either it is employers or employees, look for diversity for employers,
Mhm.
and for employees, look for ways that you can get in. It's not only the set form. This is a road, and that's the only road that will take you to destination. Um, you know, then that maybe that road is not built for you.
So, no, so Neelima, let me ask you a very straight question. What would be your message to women, the girls in India? They have two choice in front of them. One is either to take a traditional engineering degree or master's degree or MS degree, or just pursue the academics and then try their hands in companies. Or should they be bold enough? Should they just chase their mind and heart and try to get this kind of trainings on advanced technologies and pursue their career? What would be your advice to them?
I think depending on who they are first,
Of
right?
course.
There are girls who are excellent in academics, and they would love to learn as much as they want to learn and look at the depth of the particular topic. That my daughter is that,
Mhm.
right? She loves to learn and she wants to do the best in that. And then there is another type of girls who are very confident in what they can bring, and doesn't build their confidence only through education. They're already getting their hands dirty in certain aspects. So never tell yourself, maybe I can't do it. Never tell yourself that. If you feel like you can do it, go for it. Because you know what? The support system will break on you. I am almost guaranteeing you this.
Mhm.
No matter how good that support system is, no matter how much they support you, in future, that support system will break. But
Mhm.
that's when your legs need to support you. Your intention, your perspective that this is what I want, I'm not giving up. Once you head, even without their support, they'll come around. And that is where you need to find out. So it doesn't matter if you want to do education and go that route, that's also fine. But
Right.
don't tell yourself that there is an employer out there, if I get engineering, I'll get employed. I don't think so. It's going to change pretty soon.
Great. Uh, Thanks, Nilima. So thanks for your valuable time and insight. It has been really a pleasure talking to you. Um,
Thank you, Nitin. I appreciate you giving me the time as well.
so I would like to thank your organization, the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, India Business Council, the Indian Chamber of Commerce, Law Sikho, and the India SME Accelerator Network to support, provide audience and to support this venture. Let me conclude with a humble prayer to the Almighty to bestow mankind with the right spirit to fight the coronavirus and help restore peace, prosperity, and well being. Thanks, Nilima.
Thank you, Nitin. I appreciate it.